Welcome to the Dougherty County Board of Commissioners meeting with your chairman, Christopher S. Cohilas. Your commissioners include, from District 1, Commissioner Ed Newsom. From District 2, Commissioner Victor Edwards. From District 3, Commissioner Clinton Johnson. From District 4, Commissioner Russell Gray. From District 5, Commissioner Gloria Gaines. And from District 6, Commissioner Anthony Jones. Also joining us is your County Administrator, Michael McCoy, Assistant County Administrator, Scott Addison, County Clerk, Joanne Ware, and County Attorney, Spencer Lee. Thank you for joining your Dougherty County Commission meeting.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Go ahead and call to order the Dougherty County work session for May 10th, 2021. A note for the record that all commissioners are present in person. We'll now move swiftly through the agenda. Minutes of the April 19th regular meeting and April 26th special called meeting. Any comments, questions, or discussion? There being none, we'll now move on to delegations. This is where the commission will hear comments on those items pertaining to Dougherty County for which a public hearing has not been held or scheduled. We ask everyone to be brief, to the point, and considerate of time for others. We're going to begin our delegations with a special presentation this morning with a presentation to Board of Tax Assessors member J. Bruce Gunnels for his 24 years of service. If I could have Mr. Gunnels stand up. Good morning, Mr. Gunnels. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Very good. Well, it's my distinct honor to thank you for your many years of service. On behalf of the Dougherty County Commissioners, we want to present you with this acknowledgement, which is we acknowledge with gratitude the dedication and commitment demonstrated by J. Bruce Gunnels, Tax Assessors Board member, between December 1996 and December 2020. Your commitment to the community and the Dougherty County Board of Commissioners is greatly appreciated. I thank you, and we're very appreciative. And we also recognize that the Board of Tax Assessors is not usually, it's not the most fun job in the world, but we certainly appreciate it, and we need it in order to do business in Dougherty County. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. All right. Any other delegations that did not previously sign up that wish to be heard at this time? All right, we'll now move on.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
May
Yes,
I
ma'am.
ask a question of Mr. Gunnels?
Yes, please.
Mr. Gunnels, are you related to Whitfield Gunnels?
To
Whitfield.
His brother.
Whitfield was his brother. Okay, thank you.
Very good.
Okay, fair enough. Very long-term family in this community.
Yes, ma'am. All right, very good. Thank you. All right, we'll now move on to purchases. The first item is recommendation to accept the bid to contract with LRA Constructors, Inc. out of Albany, Georgia to rehab the historic Spring Run Bridge in Radium Springs for a total expenditure of $679,100. Two bids were received, with the highest being $971,000. Funding will be provided by T-Splost and a state grant. The project is a reimbursable expense. Mr. Addison.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, everyone. We're excited to bring this item to you for consideration today. This is for the rehabilitation of the Spring Run Bridge that we've been working on, and we'll use funds out of T-Splost and then reimburse it with the DNR grant that we received. We recommend moving forward with this.
Very good. Any comments, questions, or discussion?
Yes, sir, I have one question.
Commissioner
It's a
Johnson.
great distance in the prices.
I'm sorry?
Is there a reason why the price is so far apart? Did you see anything?
I'm not sure. Jeremy, did you have any information on that?
I think it's just really due to the scope of work, it's really specialized. There's a lot of moving parts, it's not every day that a contractor has a lot of experience in doing historical stuff, especially on bridges. But one's local, one's out of Alpharetta, I think.
So you got lodging and travel time to put into?
That probably has a lot to do with it.
Okay. And will will DNR have oversight over the historic part of the bridge?
They will, we did have an agreement with DNR, and they're gonna send one of their bridge inspectors once a week to do, just to overlook. I mean, they're not in control of it, but they're gonna do to help that out, make sure that we're following everything that they want to see done.
Okay, and just for clarity, it would be a Dougherty County bridge, or it would be the state bridge, once it's completed?
It'd be, I guess,
State was
State,
still owning
okay.
it.
yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Just want to be clear. Thank you.
Real quick, I have a question. This rehab, will it also include repairs to the leak in the dam?
All the improvements they're gonna be working on, the weir system, gonna be replacing all the boards. A lot of the leaks are coming in between the boards. The structural engineer did review to see if there was, leaks coming under the foundation. He couldn't find any, but, we're gonna be reviewing that as we work on the construction of it too. But we do have, in place in the bid to replace the boards and do any work that we find necessarily, related to the weir system.
Understood. Thank you. Yes, Commissioner Edwards?
Is it going, are we going to continue to be manual, or we're going to automate?
Yes, sir. It's still gonna be manual, just the way it is. We probably have to bring in a lot of updates and mechanical stuff to make it electronic, but it's easy enough for somebody to go down there and change the boards out like they always have. And once we get that, the elevation of the water level fine-tuned, we shouldn't have to manually fool with it very often. But to keep the historical aspect, we're
Yeah.
gonna keep it just like it was.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think that's part of its historic nature is with the boards and whatnot. Certainly adds to the charm of it.
I want to add to that. I mean, it goes hand in hand with retaining that water to fight off the hydrilla, right? That wheeler system.
Yes.
The more water that's retained, it fights off the hydrilla as well.
Well, yes, sir. Both ways. I'm not an expert on that, but a lot of the depth of water does have something to do with the vegetation that grows based on how much light can come through the water. But being that it's so clear, I don't know if the extra foot or so,
It's like an expert to me.
No, sir.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Let me also just say, as an aside, not necessarily in connection with this, but I have received a ton of compliments and thank yous regarding the improvements that have been made at Radium Springs, and I did want to extend those comments to my fellow commissioners and thank them for working on this, and thank staff for their hard work, because it really is looking fantastic, and it's starting to become the vision of what we had. So I'm very thankful for that. Next, a recommendation to accept the proposal from Edge Aquatic Services out of Soperton, Georgia, for the chemical treatment and management of hydrilla and radium springs for an annual price of $12,800 with the option to renew the services for consecutive one-year periods for 2 additional years. 3 quoted proposals were received, with the highest having an annual cost of $24,000. Funding is available in SPOS 5. Mr. Addison.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Actually, we'll be looking to get the funding for this out of the general fund. But this is the next phase of that the Recreation Committee recommended and wanted staff to look at. The first was mechanical removal of the hydrilla, and then dredging as well, which we are under contract and in the process of both of those. But we need a long-term solution to keep the hydrilla and other vegetation out. So after multiple conversations with Dr. Bertle and Rob Weller, we reached out to 3 vendors that specialize in aquatic vegetation, and received the quotes and their recommended dosages and frequencies, and we evaluated them based off that. We also had conversations with the chemical manufacturer and then relayed those back to Dr. Bertle and Rob Weller. We have everybody's buy-in, and the company we're recommending for $12,800, they'll come in and start monitoring the spring when we award them the contract, and they will spray when it's the ideal time for the springs and the creek to be sprayed. And this will cover the entire springs and creek. And if something comes up in the future, they will give us a prorated cost to come back and spot spray. Some of the other vendors wanted to charge a full fee, and this one, they're going to be a lot more responsive and work with us on pricing as well.
All right, very good. Any comments, questions, or discussion?
Just had a comment. I know in every expert I've talked with so far has recommended, kind of a multifaceted approach with both chemical, obviously we've done the mechanical, but the chemical maintenance, but also grass carp. And I just didn't know if that's something that we've looked at. I passed some information to Administrator McCoy about the grass carp, and that's something that could go ahead and be doing its work now to prevent the regrowth of hydrilla after mechanical removal, and it would just augment our mechanical or our chemical efforts and conceivably keep costs down over time.
Will they stay in there?
Yeah.
So will they?
Yeah.
That's something that we have discussed with the Recreation Committee before, and also with Rob Weller. But we get a lot of flooding events at Radom Springs, and there'll be no way to keep the carp in the area
Right.
During those events. But it's certainly something that could be considered. We just won't be able to keep them there. And the type of chemical that we're recommending now, it does kill some of the root systems, but there's some dormant tubers that are in there that keep coming back for approximately 7 years. So we're hopeful that if we do this and stay on it for that time frame, then we'll start to see less and less each year, and costs should go down.
Yep.
Good deal.
Does the hydrilla just go on downstream, or what? Once it's been chemical treated?
The hydrilla?
It just dies.
Well, we're removing everything now, and then the chemicals, it'll kill it, and then
You gotta remove it again?
well, no, it kind of lays down. But we're getting enough out of it now that they don't think that it'll be an issue with the amount that'll be coming back. So, yeah.
And that's what that chemical treatment is for, basically to keep it under control. That's the best $12,000 I think you could spend in here, because that hydrilla, just like kudzu, it'll take over. So certainly $12,000 well spent. If I was charging, I would have went with the 24, because it's a lot of work. Those folks are gonna earn that money.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Commissioner Gaines.
Are you suggesting that over time it may disappear entirely over the years?
I don't know about entirely, but we hope that the volume will go down if we treat it per the manufacturer's recommendations and the chemicals. There have been some studies that we've seen that there's been a significant reduction, like in the 90th percentile. I would hope that we would see something like that,
I don't think it'll
but
ever
time
go
will
away.
tell. I don't think you can ever completely get rid of it.
No, they won't ever get away with it, but you gotta keep that treatment going
So-
in those intervals like that to control it.
It just mitigates it. Okay.
All right.
Well, just to clarify, the tubers grow under the soil, and much like smilac or catbrier, grow up through your azaleas, and no matter how many times you cut it, it comes back even more aggressively. That's a lot how hydrilla is. So after so many chemical treatments, it begins to atrophy the energy in that rootstock that now it has no energy to continue to reproduce after so many years of atrophy. Kind of like draining your bank account at after a number of years, you got no more money. So that's kind of how that strategy works.
Very good. All right, excellent. Thank you, Mr. Addison. All right, next, recommendation to purchase a 6-inch compressor-assisted trailer-mounted pump for public works from the source well contract holder Thompson Pump out of Port Orange, Florida, in the amount of $39,779. The equipment will be used during flooding events. Funding is budgeted in SPLOST 6. Mr. Addison.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a standard replacement of the stormwater pumps that Public Works uses around the county and ponds.
All right, any comments, questions, or discussion? All right, let's move on. Recommendation to accept a task order for solid waste for the site acceptability study and report and D&O plans for the expansion of the MSW and C&D landfills at Fleming Gassert Road landfill with the current vendor Atlantic Coast Consulting out of Savannah, Georgia, in the amount not to exceed $500,000. Funding is available in the solid waste capital outlay. Mr. Addison.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to point out we also have Mr. Mark Liverman with Atlantic Coast Consulting here in person today if the commission has any questions. This is a twofold request, and it's all about long-term planning and environmental regulations. We look at remaining capacity of the landfill every year. We're required to report that. And, you know, right now, the landfill is in good shape. The C&D landfill has an estimated 25 years, and the MSW 35 and a half years. However, those numbers fluctuate based off of our current annual year tonnage. And after the 2017 storms, our C&D life cycle went down to 8 years. So this is about planning for the future. We have land left inside our site that was never permitted for a landfill. So what we want to do is go back and capture all that usable space on the current landfill. We won't be adding any outside land to this permit. We're just going to be using all usable space. And this process is not a fast one. In the task order there, you can see we're looking at least a year and a half before we can even submit all the required information to the state. And then it's typical for five plus years to get this approved. So this is something we need to start before we're hitting up against the deadline. The second facet of it is environmental regulations. EPD passed new regulations a couple of years back where sites are required to do update of their design and operational plans every 5 years. Ours will be due next January, and we either have to have a consultant come in and update all of our plans and submit them by then with no changes, or this process will take that place and we'll be doing two things at once. Okay. So this will extend that requirement because we're in the process of permitting an expansion.
All right.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
So because we're in the process, we have a little bit more time.
Right. We'll submit a letter, and then the beginning of our reports, you know, through this process, we'll have to do public participation, waste needs meetings. You know, there's a lot of things. So when EPD, we'll send them notice of what we're doing, and that'll meet the requirements.
How much is that cost? Permitting. How much is permitting?
The permit, well, we're estimating $500,000 to get a complete expansion permit because we have to go out and do site investigations as well, put in new borings and monitor those for a certain amount of time, as well as all the engineering and all the public participation requirements that the state, you know, makes us do for expansions. So it's quite an involved and long process.
So this part, just for clarification, this is just to put a plan together for expansion. No construction. This will get everything submitted to EPD for them to review and issue us a permit. Okay. We may have more questions to resolve. We have to do wetlands, so we got to make sure that all that stuff's good, other environmental studies. So this will get us everything submitted to EPD. And then that cost.
And then their comments will come back, and we'll have to.
But that cost don't come back for another 5 years.
Do what?
It's a 5-year cost. It doesn't come around but every 5 years.
No, when we have to do our 5-year renewal after our permit's issued, it'll be much less. I mean, it'll be just if we have any changes to our plan, we'll just have to update it and send it in. So it'll be a very small amount. If we get all these expansion permitted and digitized and, you know, with modern drawings and all that stuff, it'll be a lot easier.
Okay, so you just got it. We're ahead of the curve. yeah, this will get us started at a good place with all electronic and everything as well
Thank you, sir.
for the future.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah, Commissioner Jones.
how many acres are we trying to capture out there, total acreage?
So this would add approximately 80 acres of landfillable space.
Okay.
So we're not, we're not adding anything to the site. If you look at the large picture I showed you, I gave you there, the red shaded areas are the areas that we would be looking at
Which areas
that would
there?
add to the landfill, which
Okay.
is basically around the perimeter of the site.
Okay.
And we're already landfilling in the center here and the center. So we'd just be capturing everything we could out at the site without having to go and look at permitting a greenfield landfill somewhere else.
Understood. All right, very good. Any other comments, questions, or discussion?
Yes, one, Mr. Chairman.
Yes,
Do we
Bishop.
still put the synthetic liners?
Yes, sir.
So when you say online, I guess, are we going to have to do that again? With the new-
Those 6 cells were what was operational before the current regulations. And last year, we did look at a waste mining option for those. But at this time, we don't think expanding the footprint will be much more economical. And maybe in the future, we can revisit the waste mining, but without that plastic line underneath there, we can't put any more garbage. So it's just more expensive to have to move all that garbage so that we could line that area right now.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Commissioner Gaines?
Yes, please. Is the total cost, are we seeing the total cost, or are there other costs associated with this project that will have to be absorbed by the work of the staff?
This cost will get us all of the environmental studies, reporting, plan preparation, engineering, and calculations and everything submitted to EPD so that they could issue us a permit.
So there's
And
no,
then-
the staff doesn't have any responsibilities?
I'm sorry?
The staff will not absorb any
The
responsibilities?
staff will be working with the engineers and reviewing things, but outside contractors will all have to do all of the borings and the monitoring and things like that. Georgia EPD requires a professional engineer, to certify everything. So the staff will assist with things, but this will be done by the engineering
Entirely
firm.
by the contractor?
Yes, ma'am.
Thanks.
All right, any other comments, questions, or discussion? Thank you very much, Mr. Addison. We'll now move on to additional business. A recommendation to accept a resolution on behalf of the District Attorney's Office for the county to receive a supplement for state-paid employees. A resolution is now required for the fiscal year 2022 state-paid county reimbursed SPCR contract. And Mr. Edwards is here to address this. These are the standard supplements that the county's been paying to the state-paid employees. Is that correct?
That's correct, Mr. Chairman, and good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So this is basically an administrative matter of us
Yes, sir.
approving what we've already
Yes, sir.
done historically.
That's correct.
Okay.
And they want it in the form of a resolution. Did you want me to read the resolution? I can.
I don't think that's necessary, and there's no change in pay or anything. This is just
No change in pay. We only had a change in personnel. We have a relatively new director. The original director took another job, and so we hired, promoted
Gotcha.
within our ranks, Donna Garcia to take the job of Tanya Hall, who was the victim services director. So she's going to be the spacer employee
I understand.
in this resolution.
All right. Any comments, questions, or discussion on this housekeeping matter?
Not just one comment.
Yes, sir.
But not on this particular. I meant to commend the district attorney for, I guess, earlier this last year that you did the extra contribution to the Crime Stoppers.
Yes, we did. We did that at the behest of the commission, on behalf of the commission, and we were actually able with this effort, the Chamber of Commerce matched us and exceeded us and have indicated they will continue to make provisions to support Crime Stoppers, which we think is actually something that will help greatly and has helped.
And that was it. I just wanted, I think we kind of like overlooked that last year, that was, I think, I've heard that it's done some great things and been able to find some other people and do some conviction and get some more information. So I just wanted to commend your office for that.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to say thank you to Commissioner Edwards for shining the light on that and encouraging people to give more to Crime Stoppers. I don't know if he was the original brainchild behind it, but I did hear him say that here, and then I saw that we began to pick up steam. So I want to thank you, Commissioner Edwards, for your vision.
Very good. Yes, very good.
Well, thank you all. Like I said, it turned out to be a very good thing. In fact, when the Chamber of Commerce brought out that, they wanted to do something, and they sent letters both to commission, the city and county commissions, everybody responded, got something going.
That's very good. Excellent. All right, thank you.
All right,
Thank you
and
very
I will
much, Mr.
hand
Stephen.
up the actual resolution to,
But do we need to vote on that today, or can we do that, we're scheduled for a work session today. Do we need to vote on it today? Or?
I wasn't aware.
Okay. Is there a time deadline on it, Mr. Edwards?
not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
But,
If you just hand it to Madam Clerk, and
Right.
we'll vote on it next Monday, because today's a work session, and we'll go from there. All right. Mr. McCoy?
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
I'm informed you can vote on it at least by next week.
Okay.
However you want to.
All right, we'll vote on it next Monday. All right, perfect. Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
Mr. McCoy?
Nothing further, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Lee?
Nothing, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Commissioner Edwards?
Nothing, Mr. Chairman. Oh, yeah, one thing, Mr. Chair. Just want to recognize, Mr. Larry Thomas, for getting up early. I think you want to come back, don't you?
Very good. Thank you. Commissioner Jones?
Nothing, sir.
Very good. Commissioner Gaines?
Nothing, thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right. Commissioner Johnson?
Nothing further, sir.
Commissioner Gray?
Nothing further.
Commissioner Newsom?
Yeah, just one thing. It's good to see Commissioner Jones back over there in his place, and I understand you're doing well.
Thank you for your concerns.
Very good. All right. Thank you all very much. We're adjourned.